welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Happy Saturday. It is the weekly energy card reading. What this is every week I post a video where you, the viewer, get to choose from one of three tarot or oracle decks. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and do a brief spread to see what the general energies will be for the next 7 days. It does not need to be the week of the 23rd through the 30th, I think, in order for the messages to resonate. If you were drawn to this video at any time, or any of my other videos at any time, there may be a message contained for you. This video is for entertainment purposes only. I like to think of card reading like dream interpretation. I just like to have a good time and look at the images and just see what it means. If you are drawn to more than one deck, by all means, feel free to check it out. We have a saying in card reading that is, take what resonates and leave the rest. If you feel like a message is not resonating, by all means, please feel free to check another pile, or possibly check another video. Now, to clarify the reads today, as I go through the reads, I am going to be clarifying using an oracle deck called the Nova cards. These cards are a favorite deck of mine. They're vintage, and I purchased them off eBay, and I haven't used them in a while. And what it is that each of the cards have a black and white and burgundy image. And the regular black and white means the positive manifestation, and then the red kind of means more of the more cautionary. Now, there are no negative messages. I always say there are no bad cards in tarot or oracle. And what it does is they just have some really modern, they have some modern meaning. Like, for instance, the accident, with it being the black and white, means a positive change. It means something that was a happy accident, right? And on top of that oracle card, I have a really beautiful Orgonite. It's a pocket gem or Orgonite by a maker called Wing and Bell. They are an Etsy creator, and I'll definitely post the names of the authors and the decks that I use, as well as the name of any of the stones, in the description box below. I wanted to just take a minute to say hello and check in with all of my beloved watchers. I thank you so much for your support on my channel. This week is a little bit of an exhausting week. I've had, this week in particular has been very busy at work, and I knew it going into the week. And it was funny, I always choose a deck with you. Like, after I film the weekly energy card reading, I'll go back, like I'll wait a few days. I never completely forget a reading, but sometimes, I'll just wait a few days, maybe after I've filmed the How to Tarot, and it kind of quote-unquote cleanses my palette, so to speak, where I'll go back to the weekly energy card reading, before the week begins, and I'll pick a deck with you. And this last week, with the fact that I knew that it was going to be kind of a busier work week, last week I picked the middle deck, which is the Witch's Tarot, and it's funny, I went back several times, and I picked the same deck every single time, and again, I kind of cleansed my palette. I didn't know which deck was which, what had what messages in which. And I went ahead and I picked the middle deck each time. And it was funny, beginning of the week, it had me, the energies were very independent, like on top of it, rolling with it, right? And then by the end of the week, it was just kind of stressed out and tired, and like the moon came out, like major arcana moon. And, there are no bad cards in tarot. And of course, I follow along with you guys. So, I take my own advice. I will go back and watch these reads with you. And it is, I'm laughing because this last week was exactly that. Like, the week started off strong, 9 of Pentacles, and I'll tell you, as the week progressed, the moon can sometimes be a card of being loony, like lunar moon. And the other thing is, we had a new moon like yesterday in Leo, right? And Leo is on my midhaven, and it's also my Saturn, right? And I always think, when I look at Leo new moon, I always kind of think grace under pressure, right? Because Leos are leaders. They're also the folks you kind of look up to. And sometimes they can be a little bit moody in an ego sense, right? So sometimes when my Leo in my chart is flaring up, sometimes I can get a little dramatic. So I kept that in mind going in the week. I was like, okay, grace under pressure, right? It's going to be a long work week. It's going to be okay. And guys, oh my gosh. Okay. So, work, I've been nine of pentacling it. So I've been good. I've been, keeping organized, trying to keep on top of it. It has been long days, long hours. But let me tell you, by the middle of the week, right as the moon, was, the end of the week was starting to show the moon and the Five of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be, dragging butt. But I'll just share with you that, and again, I take my own advice. I had the events that have occurred to me this week, and of course, I think I like to think positively. I don't believe in Murphy's Law. I don't think in those terms, but I do think that gosh, doesn't it just seem to happen the moment you're stressed out and crazy? Like all the things that you do not have time to deal with seem to come out of the woodwork. But at the beginning of the week, I'll be honest, the three things that happened to me this week, aside from work, aside in addition to the stuff going on, my best friend's dog bit me on the butt. And long story, I won't go into detail. I'm okay. The dog's okay. My friend is furious at the dog and also at her hubby, who was supposed to be watching the dog and the kids. And gosh, I don't know if dogs are taught at a young age how to, snip someone right there, and I have plenty of padding, so I'm okay, but darn if I'm leaning on one cheek like all week. So I'm okay. First time that's ever happened to me. Hashtag 2020, when will this be over? I'm fine. That was the beginning of the week. Middle of the week, UPS lost a flamingo that I was sending to my mom. Yet again, long story, it's okay. I'm being reimbursed, but it's what breaks my heart is that I'm crazy busy. I don't have a lot of time, and I'm kind of using my lunch break to call and report the contents, which being a new age person, I had an Orgonite in there to my mom, and I'm like explaining this to someone who's very kindly reimbursing me for something that's lost. But that was middle of the week. End of the week. I live with roommates, and we have a water cooler, and the water cooler started acting up, like in a bad way. And let me tell you, if nothing isn't crazier than how can a water cooler catch fire, right? It didn't catch fire, but it started to smell like it was, right? And freaked me out. Unplugged it, dumped out the water. We're all good. I ended up getting this emergency last-minute replacement of the water cooler, which nobody has time for that. I don't know, week's crazy enough as it is. So we made time at lunch breaks and whatever to get a new cooler. I know how to load the water into the new cooler, and it proceeded to spray from the water dispenser side and hit me right in the torso on my lunch break when I have no time to deal with any of this. So cursed a little bit, let it go, went with the flow, literally figuratively. And I went ahead and I tried to fix from the top of the cooler. Fixed from the top of the cooler, I failed to follow the instructions. That was my bad, but it started to spring up like the fountains of the freaking Bellagio. And it hit me straight in the face. So I'm drenched, I'm cold, I'm hungry, haven't had lunch. Going back, my employer was very cool about it, gave me an extra 10 minutes to collect myself, and I was like, okay, let me get over this. Cursed, unplugged the cooler. Once I finally got off work, I fixed it. Everything's good. All's well in my world, except for a missing flamingo and a few bruises in areas that I shouldn't be bruised. But I'm sorry for the lament. I just wanted to share. So as I was reading that, I just think, it's funny. It's like as I go through the week and I look back on some of these readings, the moon just means madness, lunar madness. It's the new moon in Leo, and I'm trying to keep graceful under pressure. But let me promise you, getting drenched by my water cooler was not what I needed today. But I'm sorry. So I just wanted to share that a little bit. Thank you for listening. If you want to jump straight to your reading, the timestamps are always listed in the description box below. And please, I hope that if you picked pile number 2 from last week, you did not have a week like I did. But it's, you know what, it's what makes life memorable, right? If nothing else, be like, yeah, I survived that, I'm good. But that said, I'm going to stop blabbing, going to get into our reading. And again, you can always jump to the timestamps if you don't want to listen to my blather. I truly appreciate it. But we have 3 decks. And honestly, guys, I try to have a lot of, I like to rotate out my decks, you know, with ones that you haven't seen in a while. And these are really 3 of my favorites. They're a little bit girly, they're a little bit more feminine, but believe me, any guys who watch my channel, you know the messages come out just as clearly for you, even though it might have, more Jane Austen and, nature kind of stuff. But let me go ahead and introduce the decks. First deck is the Jane Austen Tarot, and that's a vintage deck. On top of it, I have a beautiful natural pearl. It's a double pearl. I kind of think of the Lovers when I think of a double pearl. The second deck, we have the White Sage Tarot by Theresa Hutch, and it's a very sea-based tarot. It has a lot of, it has sea lions and seahorses and seashells, and with it I have a Shiva shell, and the grays just look so beautiful. They pair so nicely. Now, the last deck is the Spacious Tarot, and with it I have a green fluorite. And I finally figured out what this stone is, guys. It's a green fluorite. Whew. Only took me how many reads? I don't know. And of course, as I said in the intro a long time ago, we are going to be clarifying with the Nova cards, the Nova Oracle cards. And with it, we have a beautiful pocket Orgonite by Wing and Bow. I'll go ahead and freeze frame and let you choose which deck you want. If you like the deck, if you like the artwork, if you like the stone. If you need more time, please pause the video, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. I'm going to go ahead and move up the other decks. Oh my gosh, guys, I am worn out. I knew this week was going to be a challenging one. And I prepared for it too. I honestly expected to film this video a couple nights ago, and it just didn't happen. Hashtag didn't happen. You know? But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clear out my energy, because these reads are all about you. You guys send me your good vibes. Please send me some of your energy this week. I need it. I need it. And let's see, so the Jane Austen Tarot with the double pearl. What are your energies for the week? Ooh, okay. Okay, we got 3 cards. I'm going to go ahead and take all 3. Middle of the week. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go with the Hangman. End of the week, please. Ooh, oh my gosh. Very clearly in the reverse, y'all. Ooh, okay, one popped out and I missed it. Clarify the Hierophant in the reverse. Let's clarify Hierophant in the reverse. Okay, I did kind of see the Maiden of Teacups, which is also that's the Page of Pentacles, Page of Coins, and we just had a tarot just a few days ago when I had a power outage, which also happened this week. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm grateful for my blessings. Everything is always a blessing. Everything that has happened to me this week has not been bad. Thank God. Thank goodness. Okay, so what's your energy for this week? What's your Nova card? Deck number 1. Oh, wow, we got a flipper. Not the dolphin. Okay, such a beautiful Orgonite, guys. Really beautiful. It has like copper in it. All right, guys. Beginning of your week, and this is the Jane Austen Tarot. Beginning of the week, you got Justice. And I love this card because it has the quill. And what it is this is that letter in Pride and Prejudice that Mr. Darcy writes to Elizabeth Bennet. And what it is that I love that scene because it's not a pretty letter that he writes, right? It contains a lot of information that upsets her, right? It's kind of a little bit of harsh truth, But the beautiful thing about the letter is that he's confessing to things that have really happened, right? She was kind of going off misconceptions of there were some acts of Mr. Darcy's behavior that she didn't understand and she kind of misinterpreted. And there's quite a few things that she judged him for that were justified. That's a lot of justice in one sentence. But there were a lot of things that he did that she saw right off the cuff and knew were, it is what it is, right? But there were a few things that were behind the scenes that she really kind of judged him incorrectly for, right? And so he sets the record straight with this letter. And the letter it's good. It's got the good, it's got the bad, it's got the ugly, right? But it clears the air, right? And that's the thing about the Justice card. And we had a tarot. If you ever want clarification on justice, it's a really quite beautiful energy, because it's almost like going to court, right? Anytime you go to court, there's always two sides to the story, right? There's your side, there's the other person's side, and somewhere in the middle is the truth, right? And that's kind of like what's going on here. Somewhere in the middle is the truth. And I think at the beginning of the week, you're getting the truth. You're getting the truth. And it could be through a message. I really do think that it's going to be in direct contact with someone. There was some kind of perception that you had of something or a situation, and it's really going to be clarified what's going on. Now, what I'm seeing is anytime I see the three cards, one right under the other, I see the root, the stem, and the bloom. It's almost like, okay, what brings us to this culmination of justice is these two things. The root of the situation is this. The growth of the situation is that. So what I'm really seeing is the root of the situation is the High Priestess, and the stem of it is the Seven of Cups. So quite honestly, guys, I really get the sense that in the beginning of the week, there's been a lot of secrecy, either surrounding you or someone else. And that secrecy, the reason, I really get the feeling like you have either been real quiet, and those, people looking at you think that you have a lot of options. But you've basically been pulled into yourself, and you have a lot of options, but someone is looking at you as if those options are there's basically a perception of you, right? There's a perception of you that you're going to set straight, right? Now, the other thing that it can mean is that maybe someone's been acting real mysterious with you. They've been real hidden. They haven't really been forthright. And when you look at them, you think, oh gosh, what are they doing, right? You see, she's kind of pondering, like, okay, what's going on here, And I really get the sense, with this being two feminine figures, I almost get the sense that it's it could quite honestly be that there hasn't been a lot of clarity. But what's been happening, you're either watching someone that's been acting real mysterious, and in the beginning of the weeks, you're gonna get some kind of message of clarity, right? It's almost like you've been observing someone, and you all you can do is deduce what they're doing, right? And you really feel like this person has a lot of options, but this person is they're gonna send you some kind of message. I think it's going to be either an email or quite honestly might be a real life letter. Because when it comes to the quill, anytime I see the quill, I know that means writing, but I also kind of think of someone who put a lot of effort into something. Because it's funny, when I think of a quill, you almost have to repeatedly dip the ink into the ink bin, and it takes a lot of effort, right? And actually in those times, really you had to make sure there was no typos, because having a typo meant you started writing all over again. You crumpled it up, wrote it again. And actually when you watch the movies or read the books, he did do several drafts of this letter, right? So I do think that someone's gonna really approach you and clear the air, right? They're going to clear the air. And I do get the feeling like a few of your assumptions were spot on, and maybe a few of your assumptions might not have been what you thought it was, but you're going to get a lot of truth in the situation. Now, some of the truth might be not things that you really don't, it might be a little bit of that, tough, that hard cold hard truth, but I do think that it's going to be an equal balance of both cold hard truth and things that you were surprised to know, right? Like maybe someone's been acting in a way that you thought was really kind of cold, or distant. That's the other thing. When you look at the high priestess, you don't know what's going through her mind. There's reasons for her actions, but she knows what's going on. You don't know what's going on, right? But you're gonna be let in on the secret, right? There's gonna be some kind of message that's sent to you that's gonna be very carefully crafted, that's really gonna enlighten you, right? You're gonna get some kind of enlightenment. The other thing that I get is that it's gonna be kind of fair. Whatever this person's been doing, if they haven't been communicating with you, they're going to explain, and it's going to be an explanation that makes sense, right? It's going to be an explanation that makes sense. Now, the only other way that I can read this is maybe you've been kind of acting mysterious. Maybe you've been kind of pulling into yourself. The other thing is that the Seven of Cups is, it's really about having several choices and not knowing which one to choose. One last way that I can read this too, and if this is related to love, and again, this is just the beginning of the week, we'll get to the end of the week, I promise. The other thing is that maybe someone's been acting kind of distant or aloof with you, and either that, or it's quite possibly that maybe you were waiting for an answer from someone. Like, this time of year, people are, I know beginning of the summer is when you apply to things like colleges, but, in the world and pandemic world, maybe you were waiting for an answer from someone. Maybe someone had, was kind of keeping you in limbo, and then all of a sudden you get a very clear, okay, you're accepted or you're not accepted, right? And that can be in a relationship sense. But if you are not accepted, you're going to get a reason why, right? You're going to get an explanation, right? And just one thing I want to point out is you do have 4 major arcana here. You have the freaking High Priestess, you have Justice, you have Hangman, and you have the Hierophant. So the other thing is these 3 cards are the most spiritual cards in the deck. Like off the charts, higher learning, higher vibrational stuff, guys. So the other thing that I might get is that it's quite possible that you are in a higher vibration, and I totally get that from this vibe from this deck. I think everyone who watches my videos or any tarot videos, they're a little bit more spiritually enlightened. I'm sorry, not to praise anybody, but you guys are, you are. But because you understand this, you see what I'm seeing, and you draw your own interpretations from it. But I definitely see that it's almost like what's been going on, there was a spiritual lesson to it, and you're getting some kind of justice from it, right, in the beginning of the week. Now, the middle of the week, you got the Hanged Man. And wow, guys, I do like this card. It's very different. But, the Hanged Man, again, major arcanas here. In the middle of the week, it's almost like after all this justice, after you kind of it's almost like you're going to be taking the information in. I do think that you're probably going to get a little bit quiet. I think you're going to how sometimes when you get a letter or you get, some kind of event occurs and you just need a little time to kind of, analyze and take in the information. The Hanged Man, and again, I'm getting a strong sense that something that you perceived, like some judgment that you made about someone, is really going to be either debunked, or they're going to give you a really valid reason for why they've been acting the way they've been acting. And it's almost like you need a little time to chew that over, right? You're like, oh my gosh, this whole time I thought it was ABC. And then it turns out that it's DEF, right? Whatever it is, and especially whatever is expressed. The other thing is that whatever whatever you're being told, I think it's being told to you in confidence. I'm getting a strong vibe with that, because the High Priestess is she's the protector of the veil of the great unknown, right? And the Seven of Teacups is not a real clear energy, but justice is justice being served. So it's almost as if you're kind of seeing something from a different angle, right? With this new information, you're seeing things from a different angle, and it's almost like you can take a whole new take. You have a whole new take on the situation because of this new information. Now, by the end of the week, wow, guys, I really see this is quite amazing because the Hierophant quite distinct. All of my cards I keep in the upright because that's just how I am, and the Hierophant quite clearly flipped into the reverse. Oops, as I flip it around. So the Hierophant in reverse is the preacher, right? And what it is the Hierophant is the spiritual leader, but the Hierophant is also the status quo. It's keeping up with the status quo, right? Now, underneath it, we have the Lord of Teacups, which is the King of Cups, right? And the King of Teacups, or the Lord of Teacups, King of Cups, excuse me, he's a very mature character, and he's emotionally faithful. The other thing is he's very emotionally mature, right? So what I'm kind of seeing is I'm kind of seeing this two ways. To be quite honest, at the end of the week, you might be witness to a little bit of that kind of toxic status quo. And I don't mean it in a bad way. It just, there's, with every situation, sometimes going along with the crowd or going along with what's expected of you can sometimes become oppressive, right? Sometimes you don't, the same beliefs that other people are pushing you to go along with. And that doesn't have to just be religious. It can be, maybe your family's pressuring you to do something you don't want to do. Maybe your work is saying, well, you got to do this. And you're like, no, I don't, And so the Hierophant in reverse is kind of bucking the status quo, right? It's bucking the status quo. But what you're doing is that you're bucking the status quo, but you're doing it in a really emotionally mature way. It's almost like you know your own heart, right? At the end of the week, it's almost like I'm going to do this avant-garde thing because I know it's what I want to do. It satisfies my feelings. It's what I know is right, right? So that could be your energy at the end of the week. Now, the other thing that I kind of see here is that it could also be that you might be in a situation where you have to go with the status quo, but it feels really, it feels like it's your duty, but it's your reluctant duty to do what is expected of you. And but you're gonna honor your commitment, though, right? It's the other thing is that the King of Cups, he doesn't shirk on the commitments that he's made, right? So, and this could play into the beginning of the week. Maybe you do get news of something. Maybe someone doesn't have, isn't giving you a whole lot of time or attention because they have obligations somewhere else. And it isn't that, the other obligations are really, filling their heart with joy, but it's what they committed to do, right? And they're true to their word, right? They're true. If they committed to something, that's their bond. But what I am definitely seeing is I'm seeing an emotionally balanced person, someone who knows their heart and they're following it. But what I'm seeing is I'm seeing kind of a structure here, like a societal kind of expectation that isn't positive. It's something that this person wants to go against. And that person could be you. You could be quite, in the end of the week, you could be knowing your own feelings very well. And the other thing is that there's a little bit of emotional rebelliousness to this energy at the end of the week. But the beauty of it is that you know how sometimes when people buck the system and you think, oh, well, they're just in a mood. You're not just in a mood. You're the King of Cups. You know exactly what you're doing, right? Either that or this could be the person that gave you the news at the end of the week. The one other way that I read this is that if someone's communicating some kind of situation in their life, and again, you thought that it was just maybe you just thought that they didn't like you and they were ignoring you. But then they send you a text or an email or some kind of communication. It could be a phone call. where they say, well, this has been going on in my family, or, I have this obligation at work, and I just haven't had time for anything else. And then all of a sudden that throws you into the hangman energy. You're like, oh gosh, I thought they just didn't like me. And here we go, they have other things going on in their life. So that new information is giving you a new perspective, a higher perspective. And then as you get to the end of the week, you could be observing this person, they're honoring their emotional commitments to their family or to whatever's going on. But you see how oppressive the structure is. It's almost like you see it with new eyes. But honestly, it could be your energy. It could also be your energy at the end of the week, where you don't want to go with the tried and true because you know your own heart. But definitely, whatever energy, these 3 cards, guys, and honestly, it looks like a little stair step, right? The High Priestess, the Hangman, and then the Hierophant in the reverse. These are spiritual cards. I really do get a sense that there's a little bit, there's clarity that comes at the beginning of the week, and then it's almost like you're seeing things from a whole new perspective. And then at the end of the week, it's almost like your heart, or you're watching someone who knows their heart, but has some kind of commitment to something that is a greater structure that they can't. You might feel like you can't really break free from it at the end of the week, but the beautiful thing about this energy is that you may not be able to break free from your circumstances right now, but you're strong in your own emotions. The other thing that this kind of tells me is that, have you ever been in situations where the environment that you're in has a lot of pressure, it has a lot of discomfort, but the other thing about the King of Cups is that he is okay in himself, in his own heart, in his own soul. He is okay. What's going on around him does not faze him because he is so solid in his own emotional balance. That's the other thing. And with Justice being a balance, right? And 5 being kind of that imbalance, I really think whatever you are, if you are going up against some kind of expectation that you really want to, go against the grain of, you're going to be very solid in your own feelings. The other thing that I kind of get from this combination is that, have you ever had it where you feel just like every day is a little bit of a struggle, but then you come home to kind of your own shell, your own sanctuary, and you do your own things. And, either that, or this could be a little bit of a side job as well. Sometimes if you do something all day long that you're obligated to do, but then you come home, I kind of feel that way about tarot sometimes. It's a different kind of art. And, it's not understood by a lot of people, but when I come home, it's a great release, right? It's almost like me being myself after putting on the public face all day long. And both faces are me, but it's kind of like that. It almost makes you feel so grounded because you're the king, right? You're the king, and whatever goes on during the day, that can go on. It might not be what, it might be what you have to deal with in the 9 to 5, but you come home and you're solid, you're balanced, you're centered. I'm hearing centered in your own soul. Now, your oracle card, you got the door, and you got the red door. Red door. And this is not, what do you call it, Elizabeth Arden. It's not Elizabeth Arden. And I love it. There's this little folded booklet that really gives really great, it's not even that long. So let's go ahead and read the door, the red door. So when it's in burgundy, it means that it's kind of, it's not a negative connotation, but it means the same meaning, but we talk about more of the kind of cautionary side of it. So the red door warns of a difficult transition or a closed door. Enter with caution or turn back at this time. Wow, guys, wow. And again, you see this right here, right? I am getting a sense like at the end of the week, this could be, it could be like, I'm almost getting a feeling like, how when you try to join a club, maybe you've been trying, you've been working hard to join some kind of club, but your application keeps getting rejected, or maybe you've been trying to prove yourself at work and then, whatever, accolade that you've been looking for just isn't forthcoming. This is kind of cautioning that maybe this group, this group that you want to be a part of, maybe, you know how they say rejection is God's protection, and the Hierophant having that spiritual kind of context, and all three cards, being more spiritual. Maybe it is asking you to kind of listen to your heart. Maybe this group that you're kind of pushing, or this group that's not making you feel welcome, maybe it's a sign that it's not the place for you. And again, you know how they always say one door closes and another door opens. Or sometimes in my life, I like one door closes and a window opens where you can jump and parachute out of. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. That was a joke. But it does kind of mean that, it's more of a closed door, but the beauty of this closed door, and especially with the Lord of Cups, the Lord of Teacups, you know who you are. You know what you deserve. And the other thing that's beautiful about that is, it's funny, and with a Leo new moon this week, so many people think that it's about the outward persona. It's not about the outward persona. It's about the strength of your character, right? If you can go home at night and not worry about what people are saying, not cave to the pressure of society or whatever people expect you to do, if you just live your life, you're living a good life, right? And I see that very solid with you, and you're definitely going to be feeling that at the end of the week. So if you do have some doors closing, please don't take that to heart. Take no action personally. Maybe look at it in a new way, and definitely that hanged man, that hanged man. The other thing is that actually when we look at all this energy, it could quite honestly be that you get a letter that says that you weren't chosen for something. But I always promise you that you were in the running, honey. You were probably in the top 3. It was probably you and someone else, and the other person won by like a sliver of a margin. Is what I'm feeling. But I promise you, if the universe has to deny you something, there is something better in the wings. And I'm not blowing sunshine, but I've seen that to be true every single time. But at the end of the week, you're going to be very solid in your own emotions. You're going to know what you deserve. And, if one door closes, another one will open. So that's a beautiful energy, guys. You got the High Priestess. That is my homegirl, man. That's some Jane. That's Jane Austen, right? Because she knows how the story ends. She knows how the story ends, guys. All right, let me go ahead and we'll put our pearl on top. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to deck number 2, the beautiful White Sage Tarot with the Shiva shell. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to give it a quick shuffle. All these decks I keep pretty well shuffled, but smooth out my tabletop there. So deck number 2, what's your energy for the week? Beginning of the week, what's the energy for deck number 2? Wow. Middle of the week, what's our energy? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, 3 majors, and this is a very well shuffled deck. Okay, end of the week, please. Okay. Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get our Nova card. Oh, wow. You got the shadow. Got the red shadow. All right, guys, middle of the week is a powerhouse. That's wild. And honestly, we go from the 6 to the 10. It's almost like a completion of a cycle in 1 week. But, no fear. Anytime you see majors in the spread, majors are, I always say it's like the gears of a clock. The major events of your life are like the bigger events, like when you think about it, like getting married, getting a new job, following your career, having a baby. Those are the bigger turns of the clock that, the big gears turn. A major event happens, and then it turns the smaller gears of the months, the days, the weeks, that forms the little memories of your life. But the big gears are the major events, and that's what the major arcana is. And it basically means, it doesn't mean that something comes out of the blue and just hits you in the middle of the week for no reason. It's usually you feeling the energy of events that have, gears that have been turning for a while, but you just feel it, or you see the evidence of it more in events occurring in the middle of your week. So just to throw that out there. so beginning of the week, you got the Six of Pentacles. And I really love this depiction. In this deck, there are ribbons that correlate with the chakras. And here it's the yellow, which I believe is the solar plexus, which is really your sense of self. I think of it as a real Leo kind of energy. It's like the center of your chest. And you know how anytime you're feeling really good, you just feel it right behind your rib cage. It's like right in the center of the chest. You're like glowing, right? And now the Six of Pentacles, we had a tarot a little while ago about this. And what I love about this is in this deck, it's sand dollars, but it's got the scales of justice. And it's an interesting, the last deck got justice in the first position too. I feel like that might be a little bit of a collective kind of energy. Maybe, I really get the feeling like a lot of balance is going on. And honestly, you got temperance in the middle of the week. So maybe this is a universal thing. The other thing is that, in life in general, and again, those bigger gears of the clock, the bigger events that have been going on, as we go through the year, I think a lot of things are starting to get a little bit more balanced. Maybe if you've been away from work, maybe you're starting to go back to work, or people are starting to go back to school. I mean, we're trying to be safe about it. We're trying to be, practical. But here I'm definitely getting a sense. I'm getting a strong sense, especially you look at how level that those scales are, right? And you see the sacral chakra ribbon. I think at the beginning of the week, you're going to get some kind of consolation for something that you've earned. And it's going to make you feel really good. Have you ever had that? Like maybe you've been working real hard and you kind of knew a promotion was coming and you didn't know when, and then all of a sudden, your boss calls you and goes, "Congratulations, guess what finally rolled around," and then you're just glowing, right? You just feel it in the center of your chest. With it being money, it could be something like that. Maybe you did get some recognition or some kind of fiscal compensation for something. But I do just think that there's some kind of balance, something that you've earned and something that hasn't been fairly distributed. You're going to see that at the beginning of the week and you're going to feel it. It's going to be really clear, right? And again, it's going to be like that finally something, the energies of something were made balanced. And here Pentacles are very physical, right? So it could be money related. Maybe you were waiting for a refund for something, or maybe you've done a lot of work and finally you're getting the overtime or the compensation for it. But in an emotional sense, it can be kind of relationship related, where maybe you've really been waiting for a long time for some kind of, equal reciprocation, and you finally get it. And the thing is with that sacral chakra, not sacral, solar plexus ribbon, it's almost like you feel so good. It just makes you feel good. But the energy that I'm getting from it is, it's not just that feel good of like, "Oh, thank you, I didn't know this was coming." No, it's like, "Oh, thank you, this was a long time coming and it's here," right? It's almost like that happy dance of going, "Oh my gosh," someone handing you the award because you've worked hard and you deserve it and you've earned it and it's finally being handed to you. That's the kind of energy I'm getting. So that's the energy at the beginning of your week, and I really like that. I like that energy a whole lot. And wow, guys, what's beautiful. I always look at 3 cards as being the root, the stem, and the bloom. And your bloom is temperance. And temperance is recalibration, right? Temperance is the balancing. It's making balance something that was imbalanced. And again, this is a whole theme. I really get the feeling like you put more work in the past. And again, these being the bigger gears, the major arcana being the events that led up to this. I really get the sense that whatever this compensation, whatever it isn't some fluke thing like, "Oh yeah, you worked extra, here you go." You've been doing this for a while. You've been putting in more than your share for a while, and the universe is making it right. The universe is saying, "No, honey, you're getting this check, you're getting this acknowledgement, you're getting this relationship, whatever you've been working towards, that you've put more energy into it, you're finally getting back. It's making level what it's recalibrating and making balanced what should have been balanced in the past. And underneath it, guys, the stem of this situation is the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune. Remember we talk about gears and turning? Wow, I really think you're having the best week ever. You have a red card, but don't be afraid of that. That's actually gonna really play into this energy. But the Wheel of Fortune is a turn of fate, and it's a turn of luck. And and again, I'm getting a strong sense. It's like more of this, it's almost like your life events in the middle of the week, you're totally gonna feel like at last, finally, this is coming to me. And you get to sit back and enjoy it, right? The other thing is with the Hermit, and this is so cute, it's a little sloth. And he has a star, right? Which makes me think of the star. But the Hermit is the root, the Wheel of Fortune is the stem, and the bloom, the outcome of it is temperance. So guys, I think that you've been through a lot. You've put a lot of work into something, and you finally leaned back. In the past, you leaned back. You pulled into yourself. The other thing is, I'm getting as if I'm really getting the sense like you did a lot of things alone. You did a lot of things on your own. You kind of went on your own, and the vibe that I'm kind of getting is that you put a lot of work in by yourself, and you shouldn't have had to do it all alone. But you learned a lot from it, right? The Hermit is very enlightened. I'm getting so much enlightenment from all these decks, guys. But you really, in the past, you really put a lot of effort into something. And because you leaned back, right? It's almost as if you were working a little too much. You were doing more than the lion's share. And at some point you said, okay, I'm done. Let me reflect. Let me pull back and see, look at this situation. See how far I've come. And then when you leaned back, all of a sudden the universe took over. There was no other action that you needed to take. You had already done too much, right? You had already done more than your share. And the other thing is, I'm getting you put a lot of spiritual work into something, because when we get to the shadow is about facing, it's about doing your shadow work. Right? And you hear a lot of readers talk about shadow work. It's not easy, right? It's not easy. It's almost like it's a little bit of the tough side of our spiritual lessons, right? And those aren't easy to face. But I think you put a really strong effort. I think you exercised. I think you did the work that you were supposed to do. And maybe other people didn't do the work in the same speed. And the universe finally got you to say, okay, you've done your part. Lean back. Reflect on how far you've come, right? Look over the situation, go slow, right? Lean back and go slow. And the universe took over, right? The wheel turned for you. There was nothing else that you had to do, because you did your karmic homework, so to speak. And so what you're feeling is the product of that work. And again, I really get the sense that it's going to manifest in something physical. And physical doesn't necessarily have to be money. It can be security in other senses. It can be a sense of self-worth. That's the other thing. It can very much be a sense of self-worth. And the other thing is, with temperance and this being a butterfly, I think you've gone through your transformation. And I know that's really weighty to talk about in a weekly energy, but you're really going to be feeling it. In the middle of the week, the other thing is, I feel like you're starting a whole new cycle, and you're starting off a new cycle on a very balanced foot. It's like, you know what you've contributed, and the universe is going to make, if you've done your part, the universe, all you have to do is lean back and kind of reflect, because the universe is going to have the other half of that meet you halfway. That's the other thing I'm hearing, meet you halfway. And if there's anything that you've been waiting for, that you've already earned, when it comes to you, you don't have to do that, Miss America, oh, I'm so surprised I won. No, you don't have to do that. You won. You won a long time ago. And the Hermit is very modest energy. It's very Virgo energy. The other thing is, Hermit is Virgo, which is, honestly, guys, you're workaholics. I have a Venus in Virgo, so I totally understand. I sometimes put 150% into my relationships, and sometimes I don't know when to amp down. Sometimes you have to amp down when you've done too much, right? But in the middle of the week, I definitely, 3 majors, guys. I feel like in the middle of the week, you're definitely going to have some kind of spiritual understanding of the leveling of something. And I honestly get the feeling like you do not have to do anything because you've already done the work. You've already done the work. All you have to sit back and be like, at last. At last is what I'm hearing. I'm almost hearing that song, At Last, you know, and you know, you finally, you've done the work and you're there, right? Now, end of the week, wow, like it couldn't get any better. Guess what? You got the Ten of Cups. You got the Ten of Cups. You got emotional fulfillment. And when you look at this, Temperance, right? This is your energy in the middle of the week, you know? And I love it. You have that infinity symbol with all the chakra colors here, you know? I really feel, I feel like you're going to be very emotionally happy over the weekend. I am getting, guys, you know, with Pentacles and quite a few cups here, I just think that I really feel like you finally got your due, right? You finally got your due. And again, you don't even have to say thank you because you've earned it. I think you're a modest person, so you'd be, you know, you would be graceful in the way that you accept whatever it is that's coming your way. But just know that the universe is bringing this to you like a gift. It's bringing to you like on a silver platter because it's balancing something that was imbalanced. I really think in the past that maybe you kind of gave too much. But things will level out, and I really feel like at the end of this week, you're going to have a lot of emotional joy. I feel like by the end of the week, you're going to be really happy. And I always look at the Ten of Cups as that money, that, not money, it's the happiness that money can't buy, right? So maybe you're doing something that really brings you joy. Maybe you're hanging out with your family. Maybe you're celebrating whatever this is, this really, but I sense that you're going to feel really secure and you're going to feel really emotionally happy. And with all this, it's almost like this beautiful delivery of something, right? A beautiful cosmic delivery of what, you know, of accolades that you've earned. Now, let's go ahead and read this. Now, the shadow, again, none of the red cards are bad. There's never any bad cards, but it kind of clarifies. Let's see what it says here. It's the red shadow. Ooh, where's the shadow? Am I reading the wrong side? Here we go. Sorry, guys. I'm moving a little slow. It's been a long week. Here we go. Okay, the red shadow. So let's read it. The red shadow warns of something unknown and scary, which may be fear itself. Face your fear with caution and seek the light. So, wow, guys, what that kind of tells me is that, you know, sometimes, one thing that I kind of get is sometimes when things get really good in life, you get fearful. Like when things are good, sometimes you think, oh, this is too good, right? The other thing that I kind of get from this message is that maybe you think you don't deserve it. You know, and with the Hermit energy, I know a lot of earth signs, especially Virgos, they're very self-effacing that way. You always think, oh, you totally busted your butt to do something, and you're like, oh, that wasn't much work. You know, now you're paying me for it. Maybe I don't deserve that. Honey, you totally deserve it, right? You know, face your fears when it comes to this. Because the other thing that I kind of see with this is that I do see that there's kind of a universal, it's almost like the universe is balancing something, but you do want to be mindful that you don't throw it out of balance, right? Don't give too much to something at an expense of yourself. You know, keep it equal, right? Keep it equal. You know, whatever. And you know, I've seen really great videos here on YouTube that talk about this in relationships and money and you know, boundaries with people. You know, when someone does something kind for you, reciprocate at the same level. When they do more, you do more. It's like, okay, you did this, I'll do this, right? But, you know, just because someone does this, don't go here, right? If someone does this, go here. Meet them on the level, right? And sometimes that might be, you know, it might be asking you to kind of notice that in yourself, because this week everything's going to be real balanced and you're going to be given your due. But I think it's almost cautioning you to not let it get imbalanced again, right? The other thing is, I'm almost getting a feeling like enjoy this moment, right? You've earned it. You've earned it. Don't be. The other thing is, don't be worried that just because something good happens, that's going to be taken away from you, right? Energy follows thought, and if you live in a state of fear, it might hinder the gifts that are yours to have, free and outright, right? So, but that's an absolutely gorgeous week, guys. That's really beautiful. I really hope later when I go to pick my cards that I get that week, because that's really, really cool. All right, so last but not least, let's go ahead. In the last deck, we've got the green fluorite and we've got the Spacious Tarot. And I love this deck. I love all my decks. I was kind of bad and I ordered a new one. I ordered a herb deck. It has all cooking stuff. And I think I'm in a cooking thing. I don't even cook well, but I've been watching this great show on a streaming channel that it's this music celebrity, and she's learning how to cook with professional chefs, and I absolutely love the show. It's so great. But it's funny, I'm not the greatest cook in the world, and I'm buying a tarot deck that has all this herbs in it, but and I'll show it to you once it comes in. All right, so deck number 3. Let's go ahead and get started. What's the beginning of your week? What's your energy for the week, deck number 3? Green fluorite. What's our deck for the week? What's our energy for the week? Okay, we're really getting this. Page of Pentacles. We did just have a tarot on this. Let me see here. We'll do page first, 3 second. The middle of the week. All right. All right. Please clarify the devil. Okay. End of the week, please. Thank you. Oh. Okay. 10 of Wands. And the Empress. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get your Nova card. I really do love these cards. Here I am getting more decks, and I've got quite a few, but you know me, I keep them in rotation. I'm pretty good about it. Okay, we'll go ahead and take both. All right, guys, so beginning of the week, and these cards really, the bottom cards really flipped out upside down. And again, I explained with another deck, I tend to keep my cards upright, but when they quite blatantly fall out upside down, that's when I know clear reversal, reversal. So, wow, this is really interesting. Okay, beginning of the week. Now, beginning of the week, you've got, so I always think of it as a root, a stem, and a bloom. And the root of the situation, where this situation grew from, is you got the Star in reverse and you got the 8 of Cups. And then the stem of the situation is you got the 3 of Wands and you got the Page of Pentacles, Child of Pentacles. And we just had a tarot on the Page of Pentacles just this last week, so if you ever get a chance to watch it. So I'm really getting the sense, if this is your energy, in the beginning of the week, I really get the sense like money is really on your mind. I get the sense that I feel like you're trying to be very practical with money, like you're trying to save it and you're trying to apply it the right way. But you definitely feel like a novice with it, right? Like you feel like you're learning, and I do feel like you're doing a good job, but it's almost just, it still feels like a start, right? It doesn't feel like you're real far along in the process. It's almost like you feel like you're still learning how to manage it correctly. The thing is that the Star in reverse, even when it's in the reverse, the Star is one of the most powerful cards of hope that there is. But what I'm kind of sensing here is that um, you're really waiting. It's almost like you're waiting for like a new start with money. Like maybe you're waiting for some kind of money to come in. Um, the other thing is, it's almost like you're really, you feel like what you feel like you've been waiting so long that the opportunity is almost, you almost feel like you're losing a little bit of hope, right? Right? Um, the other vibe that I kind of get from this is that it's almost like there's some kind of endeavor that you want to start on, like you really want to get started, but it's almost like you don't have enough capital to do it yet. Like you don't, either don't have enough money, or you're still in the building blocks stage of, you're just starting off on accumulating the wealth. You have a little bit, right? It's not that you don't have any, you've got a good start to it, but it's almost as if you're finding your way. Like it's still kind of a dark path. You're trying to find your way down this path, and you got a good start going, but it's not like you're completely to your destination yet, right? And it might make you feel that the other thing is that you might feel like, you know, the other thing is that you might feel like you really want to walk away from something, you know, like you're losing hope with something and you really want to walk away, but you can't, right? There's something that is keeping you hopeful, right? It's almost like, you know, what I kind of think of is like, okay, when I have enough money, I'll do this, right? And you keep investing in it, even though you're starting to question, okay, should I even try for this anymore, right? Should I just walk away? It's almost like you're torn, right? But you don't want to completely walk away yet because you haven't really put your full effort towards it. And it's almost like you're waiting for your circumstances to change. And in the beginning of the week, you're really feeling it more. Again, you feel like you're doing well. It's not like you don't have any, you know, I feel like you're saving up money, but it still just feels like a start. You know, it's not, you know, you don't have millions of dollars yet. But there's definitely, the other thing that I kind of get from it is that in the beginning of the week, there could have been some kind of project that you had a lot of aspiration about, but the project really didn't, you know, there's something that you emotionally invested in, right? And you had a lot of hope for it, but it's almost like it's taking too long, right? Maybe you started a job and you said, oh, okay, you know, by the end of the year I'll make this much money, or by the end of the year I'll have this promotion. Either that, or it can also be relationship related, because we do have cups. We have cups and wands and pentacles here. So maybe you started off on something and you said, oh, okay, you know, this is really going to go far, but you're almost questioning, should I walk away, right? You're kind of losing hope because something is taking way too long, right? The other thing is, and we just had a tarot on the page of Pentacles, it's about taking a real practical mindset about something, right? It's a child's energy, but you're taking a practical mindset. You're saying, okay, how long have I dedicated some, you know, effort into this project? Is it ever gonna, you know, is it ever gonna progress, right? The other thing is that you see really kind of you see dark scenes here. And here you have the Three of Wands kind of leading you out of the dark, right? Leading you out of the dark. But you're not completely walking away yet. There's something that's kind of keeping you, you're staying in a situation. You're staying in a situation because you don't want to give up hope, but you are kind of losing hope. Something is taking a really long time, and you're trying to navigate away from waiting, but you do. The other thing is that I do think that you're earning money while you do this. Could quite possibly be a job. I'm sorry, with the cups being here, it can be kind of relationships too. But um, the beautiful thing about the star is that even when it's in the reverse, it still means hope. It just means delayed hope, right? Just means delayed. So what I really kind of see with this is that, you might have had to walk away temporarily from something. Like you might have had to sideline one commitment or one project in order to work on something else because you wanted to start accumulating money, or you feel like you need money in order to move forward. But you are accumulating what you want, but it is going slowly. It's not going as fast, and you're starting to lose hope, right? You're starting to lose hope. The other thing that I kind of get from this is that maybe you started one project with the hope of returning to something, to the initial project, right? Maybe you started one job, your dream job, and then this, we could even use real world terms. The pandemic hits, and all of a sudden, instead of doing your dream job, you have to do something that's a little bit more essential for right now. And you're starting to wonder, okay, am I ever going to come back to that original goal, right? It's taking a long time. And you feel like you're coming out of the dark, you're walking the path, but it's slow and steady, right? You're not getting where you're going overnight, but you are accumulating. And I do feel like you're earning some money here too. You're earning some money, but you're definitely feeling it at the beginning of the week. In the beginning of the week, you're kind of sensing that you're kind of waiting for your ships to come in, and you feel like something, you can't completely walk away from something, and you're starting to lose a little bit of hope. And it feels like, because it's almost like you're going one direction to kind of earn money or to be more stable, but that means that you kind of have to walk away from something else, walk away, and you're having a hard time doing that, right? You're having a hard time doing that. Now, just one other interpretation is that the Page of Pentacles can definitely mean a child. It can mean a child. So it could mean that maybe you had one goal, something, it could mean that you walked away from one project or one goal in order to take care of a child. But it has been slow going. You are making progress, but it's almost like, again, you feel like you're reluctant to walk away from something else, but you have to do what you're obligated to do for right now. Now, the middle of the week is really interesting because in this deck, there are no humans in this deck. It's all nature. And you got the Devil, and you got the Ten of Pentacles. And the Devil's a really interesting card. It really kind of looks like it's trees at dusk, but it kind of looks like prison bars, right? And there are no bad cards in tarot, right? There's no bad cards in tarot. But, the Devil is it's about feeling trapped, right? And it's about feeling trapped by our own addictions and our own vices. But a lot of times it can be obligation. It can feel, you can feel, again, in the traditional Devil card, you see two people that are shackled, right? But what I like about the traditional Devil is that even though you see chains around these person's neck, they're loose chains, right? They could take the chains off. They could just take it off their heads. But the Devil is definitely about, it's about feeling trapped in kind of an obligated way, like there's some kind of obligation that you have, right? And what I'm really kind of seeing is I am kind of getting a family vibe from this whole spread. In the beginning of the week, we definitely see a page that could be a child, right? And it's almost like you're making your path forward, but it does take some patience, and it's slow moving, and it could be quite possibly that you have financial obligations to take care of a young one, right? Either that, or for whatever reason, you have to kind of walk a very slow going path to earn money to take care of others. Middle of the week, we've got the Ten of Pentacles and the Devil, and the Ten of Pentacles is very much a family card. right? It's a family card. And what I think is interesting is that these are two trees, right? All of the trees that look like, bars in the devil, and then you've got the tree in the Ten of Pentacles. What I'm kind of getting here is that I think I think in the middle of the week you might be feeling a little bit of obligation to family. It's almost, and with it again, with the sun setting, um, I really get a strong sense that in the middle of the week, I feel like you're very revered by your family. Like, I get a sense like your family really appreciates you, but you do feel a little either burdened or obligated by what you have to do. And that's not to say that having a family is a burden. I'm not saying that at all. But I do get the sense that there's either some kind of expectation of tradition, or with this being money, and again having the two money cards, there might be some kind of financial obligation that you have to your family, right? And again, the solid tree trunk is talking about, the roots, right? Roots. But the problem is, when you look at your roots, at sunset, what does it look like, right? It's kind of keeping you, it's keeping you, behind the bars of either an expectation, or some kind of obligation. So I do think in the middle of the week there might be some kind of, feeling as if you have obligations to family. And I definitely kind of see this in the beginning of the week too. It's almost like you really want to move forward, but it's very slow and steady, and it just doesn't feel. What I'm almost getting is it's almost like for every step you take forward, um, you know, um, there might be some kind of shared distribution of your earnings, right? Maybe you earn money and you help pay for the bills of your family, which, I do think that you would be fine to do. It's just, of course, that feels like an obligation, right? And sometimes when you're trying to grow and trying to move forward, when it's one step forward, two steps back, that can definitely manifest as some kind of devil energy. Um, I think that it makes you happy to move forward, but again, we kind of get a sense of fleeting hope, right? Um, the other way that I can kind of read this, and now that I've kind of read the middle week energy, is that it could quite possibly be that you might be trying to kind of break out on your own, right? This could be you trying to pay your own bills, or maybe move out or be independent, but you're reluctant to walk away. It's almost like you feel like you'll never be strong enough to be on your own completely. Like you'll be reliant on your family, and that makes you feel kind of like a burden, or like you're obligated, right? But I do think that I don't think this is a bad energy. I do think that in the middle of the week, there might be a few things popping up with family, or just kind of feeling like, like you're called to care for family. And that doesn't have to always be financial. Sometimes, if I always see it, maybe you have an elderly loved one that you need to care for, and you need to spend some time with. um, but I would definitely say that in the middle of the week, you're going to be kind of focusing on whatever obligations that you have to other people, and I do think that it's strongly family related. Now, by the end of the week, you got some really beautiful energy, guys. You got some really beautiful energy. You got the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups, and again, I feel like another real family-friendly vibe is that you see one cup and it's surrounded by the other five, right? So I do almost get kind of like a fatherly vibe from this. If you're a father, it could be you. But in the end of the week, you're going to be feeling real nostalgic. I get the feeling as if you might be looking back, and I think that after the course of the week, by the end of the week, you're really going to be looking back on both the week and, past events in your life, and really kind of focusing on, the good times that you've had in the past. right? I do also get that, with the Six of Cups, sometimes this can be a little bit of it is definitely a reconciliation card. So it could be maybe at the end of the week you talk to someone from your past. Maybe throughout the week, if you are having, some kind of, maybe you're feeling a little bit more obligated to family or responsibilities. Maybe on the weekends you spend time with friends. I really get a sense of kind of old friends here, someone who's known you since childhood. And what it is it's almost like maybe they can help get you out of your head a little bit. The other thing is if you are reflecting on feelings like, not being able to walk away and kind of losing faith, I almost get the feeling as if your friends will surround you and kind of listen to you and maybe, give you, I feel like it's gonna, the other thing is with this ocean, that's, water is emotion and you see how calm the ocean is. It's almost peaceful. I almost get the feeling as if maybe you'll have friends around you that are listening to you, right? And just by talking about it, maybe talking about how you feel or talking about stuff going on with your life, what it is that's putting you in this devil energy in the middle of the week, by talking about it. Have you ever noticed that sometimes just by talking about something, you can kind of exercise it? It's almost like you find a solution by going over it with someone who has a good listening ear. And I see like a group of people, and I really get the sense like it's friends, right? I get a sense that it's friends. Or possibly it could be a family member that feels like an old friend, like maybe a cousin that's your same age, right? But I do think that you might be reminiscing, you might be going over some past memories, but I do think a lot of the memories are going to be very positive. And I think by talking out your emotions, you're going to feel like you're in a better place. And if there is any kind of lingering devil energy, I think it's going to help you really kind of work through that energy. Now, the two Nova cards that you got is you got the Red Wizard and you got the positive eagle, right? So let's go ahead and read the Red Wizard first. Try saying that 3 times fast. Okay, so the Red Wizard. The Red Wizard warns of a dangerously manipulative power. Question authority. Wow, guys. And then let's go ahead and see. And then the eagle, and you got the positive eagle. So the eagle symbolizes freedom, liberation, rising above the situation. Oh my gosh, guys. Wow. Wow. So look at this. Look at this. The other thing I'm going to point out is that you've got one big cup surrounded by 5 cups, and then you got a wizard surrounded by 5 phases of the moon. Yeah, guys, I really do think the wizard really does kind of remind me of the magician. And the magician really talks about you being the manifester of your own destiny, right? You control, it's your show, right? This is your show. The rest of us are just a squirrel in your world, right? And the eagle seeing something from a higher perspective, like almost getting, a liberation. So yeah, guys, I mean, definitely if any situation feels like it's going slow, but the other thing is that I'm definitely getting, the Ten of Pentacles can be the establishment sometimes, and that doesn't necessarily have to be family. But when it talks about the wizard being a very powerful authority, right? And definitely, there's no more powerful authority than family, right? But definitely, if you were feeling pressured to conform to something, again, break free of any kind of overpowering. If you feel like you're being manipulated, your freedom, your liberation is really important right now. And I do get a sense that talking to friends or just kind of, an eagle really rises above. The eagle is one of the signs of Scorpio, right? It's about transformation. It's about seeing things from a higher perspective and getting, rising above, right? And I know that's really hard to do, especially if you're in a situation where you do have those kind of expectations that are really ingrained on on an ancestral level. But I do think that it's telling you that if you feel like there's any expectation or obligation, because the devil is it's a heavy energy, and with the star in reverse, it's almost like it's bringing you down. But if you do feel like there's any type of manipulation going on in your life with somebody, feel free to put, and this is not to give advice, but your freedom and the way you live your life is the most important thing, right? But I do get the feeling like getting away from the situation, and especially when it comes to folks who know how to, again, a wizard knows how to manifest. I would say that if you really do feel like you're caught in kind of the beam of somebody else's intentions, breaking free and being around other people who understand you but are not a part of that system, like your friends, it would do so much. And again, that ocean, I just keep noticing that ocean, how calm it is, right? It almost like it helps calm you. It helps put you in that perspective. And eagles and birds fly over the ocean, right? So I do think that the devil energy is very difficult to break free from. It's a major arcana, and the 10 of Pentacles is a completion of a cycle. But I do also think that if this is some kind of expectation with family, you are coming to the end of that situation. It's just going to really kind of take a lot of strength to stand in your own freedom. But you do have support of other people who understand you and make you feel very calm, like in your own heart space. And but your liberation, doing what you think is best, is really gonna take you to a whole new level. And again, the star in reverse is still the star. It's just it just might be a little tempered or delayed. All right, guys, and that 3 of Wands really wants to pop out. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed. I really got a kick out of that reading, and again, I know I'm sorry to be so tired. It has been a long week for me, but I appreciate you watching, and please feel free to check back in on next Tuesday. We are going to continue the How to Tarot series. We are going to be talking about the Knight of Pentacles, so I'm excited for that. And I just wanted to say, if you caught the beginning of my video, I am grateful. I'm so grateful for everything in my life. I know there's some crazy stuff that happened, and I'm grateful for my friend. I'm grateful for her dog, and I'm grateful for a job that keeps me engaged and keeps me busy. And I'm grateful for water cooler, even when it gives me a bath in the middle of the day. So, all those things in life, even though they're little annoyances or little things that happen out of the blue, it's what makes life interesting, and I am grateful for it. So, but I hope you can catch me in the next video, and that you have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.